Good afternoon. Welcome to February meeting of the Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority. We have a quorum, so we will begin. The items from the chairman, our chairman is absent today. I'm filling in for him. The first item is an update on MAPS 3 subcommittee activities, and I think Brian has a comment for us there.
Mr. Nork and I serve on the MAPS 3 subcommittee on the river, and just for everybody's information, I think the first order of business was trying to bring the whole subcommittee up to a knowledge base in terms of what was going on in the river and what kind of programs. So we've had a tour of the boathouse, we've had information on the Indian Cultural Center and all. Last meeting we did turn around and had quite a bit of discussion about the windscreens, and they are moving forward with studies and information about the windscreens. And today, following this meeting, there's a meeting of the subcommittee, and on the agenda is mostly about the permanent lighting system. And again, the way I understand it is, who knows where everything comes on funding. They want to have everything in place, so if the opportunity comes to go ahead and the priorities, they'll be able to get some of these things that they know they want to get taken care of. So that's basically where we are.
Any questions of Brian? If not, is there a motion to receive that report? Been moved and seconded. Record your vote, please. Item passes. Item 2B, which is to receive an update on Oklahoma City Riverfront Redevelopment Authority's River Cruise Committee activities. Do we have someone to give that report?
Well, I'm the chairman of it, so I'll try to give a little bit of a report. Pat can help me out as I start filling in gaps. We've had 2 meetings so far, and I thought they were very good. I think the first meeting we kind of got a feel for what the committee was going to do and what was there to look at in the way of getting more activity on the cruisers. The second meeting, we got to meet the new captain, Mark Fernandez, with Hornblower was there, and also, and his name escaped me from Hornblower corporate. Anyway, came in for the meeting and was and talked about Hornblower's involvement and how they understand that it's important to increase the river cruiser activity and increase the ridership. And we talked a lot about the daily rider or the fee rider versus the charters and how important both of those were and where that lay. I was very impressed with Mark Fernandez, the new manager here, background in developing things like the charters and understanding how important that those things were in the overall scheme of things. We got a lot of discussion from COTPA on where the importance of the two and where that laid with the federal grant money that we'd used and how important it was to make sure we don't ignore one versus the other. And then we closed the meeting with when they're ready to present it, we're going to get the committee back together to look at the proposed PR and media stuff that was going to be used for the upcoming year for the cruisers and how they were going to implement that and so forth. Hornblower committed that they were very willing to help with that, even though they're really more the manager of the boats themselves, but they understood the importance of getting the ridership up. And so I thought it went very well. And Pat, fill in anything else you thought.
I would concur, and that was a very good summary. 2 other takeaways that I recall from that is number one, the staff, both the new staff with Hornblower, the COTPA staff, and I'm involved in basically looking at the entire business model, looking at how we break down the transit versus charter books of business, how we're approaching marketing, how we're approaching public relations, all manner of things. And I think the direction was to come back to your committee with a slate of findings and recommendations, and I believe the next meeting is subject to your call whenever that information is available. Subsequent to that meeting, we've had several internal meetings with both the Hornblower staff, the COTPA staff, and others, some of our stakeholders, especially Chip Menti with Devon, who serves on your committee. And so I feel as though we're really finding some excellent opportunities, and we'll come forward within certainly the next 30 days with some recommendations, some findings, and things for the committee to consider.
Well, and it was said more than once, and I truly believe Hornblower got the message that that they need to be involved, that they need to bring what expertise they have to the table to help this out and show what's worked around the country and to be a partner in all of this, and because they do have a stake in it, and they were very open about the fact that they knew those concerns were there and they were willing to work with that. So I'm hopeful that when we see those plans that we'll see hopefully some increased activity in the cruisers. That's all.
Anything additional from COPPA about?
Well, good morning. I just wanted to say that we're very excited about the new management with Hornblower Marine Services, and we see a lot of positive planning in place already, and we're very excited about having Hornblower be more active in sales with the Oklahoma River cruises.
Okay, thank you. Larry, you have...
Yeah, I just have an overall question. Could somebody very quickly tell me this? Who's responsible for marketing the cruises? In other words, we want to have X number of people riding the cruises this year. Who do we look to either say, great job, you got them, or, hey, we didn't make it?
The CUTPA is responsible for marketing, and Hornblower is responsible for sales. So what we have been working on and what we're finalizing probably this week, we've already finalized the service schedule and what our theme cruise offerings are going to be and some of the private cruise availability. Then, so we have enough to put together our initial brochure. Then we have the new Hornblower general manager has created a sales team to actually get together and make Hornblower more actively involved in sales. I'm sure I've mentioned it before that when they first came on board, their attitude was we just drive boats. And we've been, fighting this this mindset since they came on board. When we went to get a new general manager, I explained to them that my focus was on the sales part of the contract, which is a very small piece of the contract, but it's a very important piece of the contract. And so when they went out to do the search for the new general manager, they, of course, are interested in a good boat captain, a good administrator, someone who can follow Coast Guard regulations. And on my side, I'm saying, I want sales and marketing. So with the new general manager that we now have all those elements in place. We have someone who actually had his own business and did sales in the technology field. And at the same time, he had 17 years of boat handling and boat management, private yacht sales, and conducting private charters. So this was a good mix for us. When I was on the phone discussing the final determination of the general manager, we were both very happy that I was getting what I needed from the contract and Hornblower was getting what they needed as far as a safe and reliable service.
Mr. McAtee, actually, the answer to that is the COP is responsible for it. The Hornblower is a contractor for them and does provide some services. And I think a few months ago that was Mayor Norrick's concern was that there really doesn't the focus on it. So he's put together the subcommittee to try to help focus that to make sure that we were doing an adequate job in that area and brought some resources not only from this trust but from some private sides of things to help us focus on that as we go forward.
Will there come out of all this, for example, a goal of how many individual riders we're going to have this year?
Yes, we establish goals each year, and we base our budget on that goal, how much revenue we can expect per passenger, how many passengers we'd like to get, and what type of revenue growth we would like to see. And as I said, this is the basis of our budget for how we establish what we will put into marketing and what we will put into concessions. One of the more favorable things that was a long time coming last season was getting the alcohol license to increase the concessions. Now they're looking at other ways to improve concessions. and ways to improve theme cruises and private charters as well to enhance revenue on that side. And then we take all these pieces and take it to the CAPA Marketing Department and the CAPA Marketing Committee, and they help us establish a strong marketing effort to make that happen within our budget.
I think the takeaway, again, was that, I apologize for his name escaping me, but the man from Hornblower Corporate committed that Mark, the manager here, would have all of the resources from Hornblower Corporate available when it comes to marketing or PR or sales. Any of the things that they've had success with other parts of the country, that would be made available to Mark to utilize here also. So hopefully we'll see some increased activity when it comes to marketing and sales, hopefully.
Any other questions or comments from anyone? Thank you. Is there a motion to receive the report?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Next item is the minutes of December 21st of 10. You recall we did not have a January meeting because of weather. So meetings of December 21st. Are there any comments?
Move approval. Second.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Next item is the consent docket. We have 5 items. You'll notice that we have 2 sand mining reports and 2 oil and gas, again because of the missed meeting. Any comments or anybody need to highlight anything in any of those 5 items?
Move approval of the consent docket, all items.
Second. Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Move to the primary agenda item. Item A is receive unaudited interim financial statements for the period ending December 31st, 2010.
Mr. Chairman, the financials are in your packet. We'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from anyone?
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Item B is to adopt a resolution to accept annual inventory of the Oklahoma River Rowing Canoe Kayak Race Course as submitted by the City Boathouse Foundation.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. Record your vote. Item is approved. Item C is to approve a renewal of an agricultural lease with Steve Allen in the vicinity of Sooner Road and Northeast 23rd, but Sooner Road between Northeast 23rd and Northeast 36th. Any comments, questions on that item? Been moved and seconded. Please record your votes. Item is approved. Moving to item 6, which is claims. Any comments on the claims docket? And again, you have some repeat items there because of the no January meeting.
Move approval.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved. Moving to additional items. Comments by the staff. We have the Director of Development report. Anything you would like to highlight, Pat?
Really, the 2 primary areas of work this last month or so have involved cleanup and finish-up work at the Devon location and surrounding area. We do have the parking lots finished. The lights are on in the parking lot, so that's all moving along very nicely. And then at the same time, we've been focusing quite a bit of attention on the river cruises, the work of the subcommittee on the river cruises, and pursuing some enhancement programs with the COTPA staff as well as the Hornblower staff. Otherwise, would be happy to answer questions and would request that the report be received as submitted.
Mr. Chairman, I had a question with regard to the second page, last item, the Champion Hotels TIF agreement.
Well, there was a TIF agreement that had been proposed in the what we sometimes refer to as the Dell TIF, but it's the TIF that covers the Dell campus and a significant corridor along Southwest 15th Street toward Meridian and a bit to the south of 15th as well. the hotelier was interested in pursuing a TIF agreement wherein there would be some improvements funded through the tax increment finance district that would benefit not directly on his property, but property that the city owns and the River Trust manages directly to the north between the river itself and the gentleman's property, the hotel properties. Those negotiations went on for some months, and at some point we set a deadline. The gentleman declined to enter into the agreement in a form and substance that our finance department deemed acceptable. And so we have since then passed on that TIF agreement, but the TIF funds will still be in place. The new development, the new hotels will, in fact, are generating those increment taxes. So rather than doing it in a way that benefited largely the hotel district, we're looking to do perhaps slightly less along there, but to a nice degree anyway, and then focus a little more attention over slightly to the east where the Meridian Landing is located, and there's a public plaza that's been designed and proposed in that area. So we're simply shifting our priorities a bit based on what we perceive to be a lack of interest on the part of the property owner.
Thank you.
Pat, you might expand a little bit on the engineering contract with the Regatta Canal connection.
Well, the engineering firm has been selected by the city, and so work will begin on that project. There was some general conceptual design work done many years ago because it was always assumed that at some point you would have to bridge that gap. So some of the structural materials are already in place. The I-40 bridge that crosses this area was designed specifically and dimensioned specifically to accommodate our boat traffic to go underneath it. So we have a bit of a head start in that sense, but it is moving in a very judicious pace, and we hope that this is something that we can wrap up relatively quickly. And I'm not sure what the construction deadline or timetable is at this point. Jim, you may know.
Well, right now we anticipate selling the bonds in 2013. That's not our staff decision, that's a council decision to make that. That's probably what the recommendation from staff is going to be at this point. And so it could begin construction then in the summer of 2013.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Larry?
Question, you mentioned the boat landing at the Meridian Landing, and the facilities that we have there were not completed to the spec that we had envisioned because of a lack of funding.
Correct.
And now you've talked about the TIF. That is in the TIF area.
It is.
Could TIF money be used to complete that landing?
It could. It would be an eligible project.
That's what I want, an eligible project.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you, Pat. Is there a motion to receive his report?
So moved.
Been moved and seconded. Please record your vote. Item is approved.
Thank you.
Any additional comments? Anybody on the trust?
I would just like to mention that I've worked out with, or been out with Larry Boss 3 different times over at Crystal Lake. And, Crystal Lake, a lot of us have been really interested in seeing it brought to its potential. And what they've done out there, there is now a cable fence around to try to diminish the illegal dumping. The amount of dumping out there was staggering. You'd go, there were piles of shingles, tires, everything in the world all the way around it. So they've got that under control. Now they're out working with Brian Mon, and I think, hats off to him and that SHINE program and the Community Service Project. Because Friday there were probably 50 or 60 people out there picking up all those tires, getting those off the site, getting the piles of trash. They had huge piles of trash that they were doing. And I just think that's setting the stage for what can be a great project out there. So hats off. I know Brian is very interested in using his program to clean up other parts of the city. He's talked to me about finding other parts with public ground. and he's looking at different places along the river or anywhere else where they can go and utilize this program. And I just think I sent a email to Pat and to Ron just saying, I think at this point in time, they're operating in a very safe mode for us. It's a whole lot of just labor out there picking up things and getting it together. And so to me, I don't see any negative to it at all, and I think it ought to be applauded for what they're doing.
Great, good to hear. Any comments from anyone else?
I just wanted to say how much I appreciate the Boat Foundation giving us the schedule for the month of February and March. We can share that with other people. I thought it very, very interesting. So I appreciate that addition.
Anyone in the audience have any comments to bring before us?
I'll just repeat what I said at council this morning. Went to the reception last week for the U.S. women's rowing team, Olympic rowing team at the Devon Boathouse, and it was really heartening to meet those athletes, number one, but to hear them talk about how impressed they are with what's going on here in Oklahoma City, and we just continue to wow people when they finally get in here and see what's happening on the river and what the future of the river is, and it was quite an enlightening experience.
Anyone else? If not, I'll accept a motion for adjournment. Thank you.